the roadshow virtually through Zoom due to the current COVID-19 pandemic restrictions. Otherwise, we would have done it in person at the multiple district convention. Tonight is the second in the series of 4 sessions with a focus on new member recruitment and retention. We emailed out a PDF copy of the slides from last week, as well as a recording and some supplementary material as well. So hopefully you've all received them and have had a chance to perhaps go through some of it, if not all of it, because there's a lot of material that we were able to have. And we're recording tonight's session as well, because there's a few people that had contacted me to let me know that they have other commitments tonight. So in addition to MD19 Lions, we welcome a number of Lions from MDs 36 Oregon, 39 Idaho, and 49 Alaska. And sitting in on tonight's session, I'm expecting our CA2 International Director, Lion Alan Hunt, but I don't see him popping up, but I imagine he will pop in at some time.
He's on, Polly.
Oh, he's on. Well, welcome, Alan. I'm glad you're able to join us. I am Lion Polly Voon, past council chair. I serve as one of the 18 GAT area leaders in constitutional areas 1 and 2. And I cover the 9 districts in MD19. Moderating the roadshow with me is Passenger Governor Mark Menzel, who serves as MD19 NAMI champion. Assisting us with the background logistics are PASH International Director Ann Smarsh, who is 19B's GLT coordinator, and Passenger Governor Sharon Sykes, 19C GLT co-chair. Thank you both for your assistance. It certainly helps Mark and I so we can focus on the actual delivery of the content of the sessions. Next slide, please. I believe you have all changed your Zoom screen name to your real name, so it's helpful when we take attendance, and Mark has mute everybody except those who will be speaking. If you're calling in by phone, please mute your line so we don't get the feedback and the interruptions and so on. If you have any questions or comments, please use the chat box. We'll monitor the questions and address them as we go along or towards the end of the session. We have some time put aside for some Q&As. Next slide. So tonight, the session is on new member recruitment and retention. And we have invited a couple of Lions to join us to share some of their local successes as well too. So it's always good to be able to listen to real case scenarios within our multiple district, hands-on, practical examples and ideas that we can all benefit from. Next slide. So, and the next one, please. Yes, Mark.
Okay.
In an effort to encourage membership growth, especially during this difficult period, a number of discounted membership opportunities are available from LCI. Let's review the different discounts that's currently available. Next slide, please, Anne. We'll start with a student member. Full-time students under 30 years old is how LCI defines a student. The entrance and charter fees are waived and international dues are half. The next one is Leo to Lion, current or former Leos through age 35 who have been a Leo for at least a year and a day. Leo Lions receive service credit for the time that they've been a Leo. The entrance and charter fees are waived and international dues are half. Former Leo, and the former Leo is Leo 36 or older who have been a Leo for at least a year and a day. Former Leos receive service credit for time as a Leo as well, and the entrance and charter fees are waived, but they will have to pay the full international dues. Then we have another category for military veterans and active military. These are people who have served or currently serve in the military. In the US, of course, it's the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, and the Coast Guard through June 30th, 2021. The entrance and charter fees are waived, but they have to pay the full international dues. Then we have the family membership, dues discount for people of the same household joining the same club. They pay full entrance and charter fees. The primary member, who is the head of household, will pay the full dues, and up to 4 additional family members in the same household will pay half dues. And then, of course, we have the Lioness Bridge program that we've been promoting for the last probably year and a half. And LCI is terminating the Lioness program as of June the 30th, 2021. So for Lioness, joining an existing Lions Club, the entrance fees are waived and members are charged half dues. When forming a new club, and that's something that we've been suggesting to some Lioness clubs, when they form a new Lions Club, the minimum required to charter a club has been reduced to 1. So as long as they charter a club, they start with 1 member, and then they hopefully will build up from there from the 1 member. Lioness receives the years of service credit, and of course the program and the concessions that LCI is extending to the Lioness will end June the 30th, 2021. It's important for us to reach out to the Lioness clubs in our areas, and I know that we've been doing that in a number of districts within BC and Washington State. The discounts mentioned on the slide will no longer be available after June the 30th, 2021. And more importantly, Lionesses and Lions clubs will also lose LCI benefits. And the most important one is the general liability insurance and the use of the Lioness name and logo unless they bridge to a Lion or a Lions club. You know, we've been sponsoring Lioness clubs for so long. So LCI wanted to give them adequate notice so we can continue to work together. So if you have Lioness clubs in your area and need support and assistance with them, please let us know or email membership@lionsclubs.org. There are staff specialists willing to help provide tips and resources for any of these discount types and programs. So please don't hesitate to reach out to membership. And if there are any questions about a certain program, or if you're looking for what forms may be needed to qualify for the discount and other benefits within each of the program, let us know or let membership@lionsclubs.org know. You can also find this complete list on the membership growth event toolbox as well, as far as the description of the different discount types, what's being waived, and what benefits that they'll enjoy for the time being. So Mark, would you please take us through the process of and whatever resources are available on new member recruitment at this point, please?
Yes, thank you. So there's a lot of very familiar faces and a lot of experience on this Zoom call today. And many of these things we're going to talk about, you probably have experience with either directly or indirectly. Yet at the same time, we need to stop to think about what are the foundations, what are the tools that we have available? And sometimes as members, we pay dues, but we don't take full advantage of the benefits. And one of the benefits is to have materials given to us. Order what you need and use what you get. And one of the key documents that I encourage everybody to at least pull down from the website, lionsclubs.org, is just ask. And just ask is a great place to start because it asks and lays out a very simple, straightforward way to help increase your membership. So next slide, please. There are 4 parts to the just ask. And again, if you haven't looked at this or you haven't looked at it for a while, I encourage you to do it because it's rich with not only just a framework for how to recruit new members, but it has a lot of tools for doing that work. And again, this training today, this event, this learning experience is, yes, it's about you, but it's more about your districts, your leaders in your districts. And this is a resource that you should become familiar with. If we're going to ask our members to use these tools and use this document, we ourselves must become familiar with it. So there's 4 parts to the Just Ask model. The first one is prepare your club. And one of the key questions that the Just Ask tool frames for us is, why do you want new members in your club? You know, if we don't have activities for them to do, or we don't have ways to engage them, or we're not willing to use the Lions platform to help those new members to accomplish their service objectives, then we're just going through an exercise. But getting that question answered, what specific reasons do you want new members in your club, is an important start. Then the step is to form a team. Virtually everything that we're doing now, whether it's GAT or whether it's NAMI, is all about team. We just had a great 6 virtual events for new officer training this year in the multiple district, and it was centered around team. So having a membership drive is no different in a club. The second part is create your growth plan. That plan is, you have to be able to ask, who are we going to recruit? Where are we going to recruit? What materials do we have ready? Do we have a promotional event, or how do we attract new members? And again, the Just Ask document has many, many resources in there, including the types of communities, the kind of networks that we can ask and connect with to grow our club. The third part is actually implement your growth plan. Do you reach out? How do you reach out to the potential members? How do you have informational meetings? Or many clubs, what they do is they have materials at their events, their activities, their website, their Facebook page. Some of these tools are ready to go right to your Facebook page. You follow up with attendees when they show interest in either a new member drive event, or if they come to your booth or the event and or they go to your website. Have a plan to follow up with anybody that has an interest in becoming a member of clubs. Review the club or the growth plan as necessary and make adjustments. One of the things in my experience with clubs, we build up this energy, we build up these ways of doing business, and then it just falls by the wayside. You have to help your clubs to be able to have this become part of the culture. And lastly, and most importantly, is when new members get brought into the club, how do you provide a quality induction and orientation? We're going to learn a little more about that later tonight, but that is an important part of the process, is how do you bring them into the Lions family and help them on their Lions journey? The other is, how do you make them welcome? If we just plug them into the projects we have and we don't really want to listen to them, we don't want to ask them, how can Lions help them? Then we will probably lose them faster than we got them. Again, the Just Ask document is a very important tool, and I challenge everybody on the call to download the document and look at it and read it and think about it, and how can you use that tool to help your district grow. Next slide. And again, I said there are many, many things in the Just Ask handbook, the guide, more than just a framework. There are worksheets, there's a script on how you talk to members. There's actually a flow chart in there about how you can answer questions, and so on and so forth. And I would encourage you to help your clubs become familiar with the document and encourage them to use the tool as a regular course of their business. If we don't do that, if we don't take care of our new members, they will leave. And that's discouraging. Next slide. Another great tool is the membership growth event toolbox. And we've probably seen many of these links before: the Club Quality Initiative, Membership Satisfaction Survey, Blueprint to Stronger Club, and so on. But these resources are really powerful to help your clubs grow. And as a leader in your district, you need to be aware of these resources and be ready to help and coach those clubs that want to grow. In particular, the membership satisfaction survey guide tool is an important part. Now think about it. If our current membership is not satisfied, they're not engaged, they're not involved and excited about being a member of the club, how is that going to impact attracting new members? And so we should start all member drives with a membership satisfaction survey. That's the foundation of our growth, is taking care of the members that we have first. Next slide. One of the ideas that LCI has provided for us is a membership growth event. And there are really 4 parts to this. And again, you see phase 1, it starts with a team. Build a team and have that team be enthusiastic about what the projects the clubs are doing and how that they're feeling like their needs are being met as a member of the club. Be able to talk about your service projects and be able to articulate how it makes a difference in the lives of people in the community. Tell the stories. The next thing is to get organized, and getting organized is a key part of it. They have these tools that actually lay out a 6-week planning guide. That this is not something we go, hey, let's do a growth event next week. This takes work, this takes planning, and it can be a great way to celebrate the success of the club and to say, hey, we can do better in this. One thing in my own experience when we talk about a membership growth drive is the club ready? Is the club ready to accept new members, as we talked about in the Just Ask guide? But the event, growth event, can actually be a great way for a club to strengthen itself, because they have to self-reflect as a team. How do they serve the community? The third part is you execute the plan. The plan for the event, the needs, the target audience, find common cause to invite prospective members to engage and empower new members to be involved. It's also important not only to work with sponsors, but identify mentors who will help with new members being onboarded. And let's stop to think about that for a minute. A lot of times clubs sponsor people, but their sponsor is not the strongest mentor. And I would encourage you to also look at the resource on LCI. There are mentor, 2 levels of mentor training, and it can be a great way to help a club become more prepared by growing and training mentors. Clear communication and willing to listen and answer questions to new members is an important part of that. And at the end, celebrate success. When you have the event and you bring your invited guests. Invited guests can be family, friends, coworkers, neighbors. When they come to your event, have refreshments. And in the COVID-19 era, that would be interesting. But you could also do that and have a virtual event. There are clubs that are actually growing their membership through virtual means. There's, I believe, in District A, they just held their a charter. Then they do a charter night virtually. Or is that in another part of Canada, Polly?
But I believe it's another part of Canada. In 19A, the 2 clubs that was recently chartered have a physical face-to-face in a restaurant, but observing all the pandemic restrictions and well organized.
Yes. So by the time hope is by the time you actually initiate a membership growth event, that the pandemic will be behind us, right? It's good to have goals, but celebrate, stick to the agenda, and have a lot of fun, because when a new prospective member comes to one of your events and they're excited, the members are excited, they're having fun, it's an attractant for that new member, prospective member to join. Be sure to mix and mingle and have fun. Listen and then reflect on what you learn as a result of those events. Next slide. So what do these numbers tell us? So the first part is 73% overall member 3-year retention rate worldwide. So as example, if you look at any club, on average, about 3 out of every 4 members will be there after 3 years. So you have a 25% turnover in your membership. But new member 3-year retention rate worldwide is just 55%. So there's something that we're not doing well that engages that new member to stay on. And also, if you could look at that and go, what is your overall retention rate in each of the clubs, and how do you help increase that? That's another way that you could be an opener to provide clubs for support for these tools for the member satisfaction survey. So these numbers are pretty stark. Almost 2 out of every 4, or 50%, a new member, they don't stay, which is very alarming. Next slide. I want to pass this back to Polly, and you can help us understand a little more the importance of new member orientation.
Thanks, Mark. Certainly what we have seen is one of the key factors that drive people away from our clubs is the feeling that they're not making a difference, or that it is not a good use of their time. So helping a member understand how they can be part of an organization that makes a huge difference around the world, as well as highlighting some of the benefits of being a member, can help with this sentiments. And one of the key areas that we need to do is the new member orientation. You work hard bringing all the new members in, and you can assume that they don't know very much about what Lions do. They don't understand the organization. So it's very important that we do a new member orientation. There are several tools and resources available for the clubs to use, and all found on the membership chairperson's page. So you can reach it through lionsclubs.org and do a search on membership chair, and it'll give you a list of a lot of material. We do not have to reinvent the wheel. The wheel's been invented for us. All we need to do is to search out the information and use the materials. Use the new member questionnaire found in the Just Ask guide that we referenced earlier on, and customize the experience for a new member. This will help the new member find ways that they can feel like they are making a difference and doing the things that they feel passionate about. Find out what they're interested in, what they're passionate about, and involve them in the things, in the areas that they enjoy. The new member induction ceremonies guide will help step you through the oath for a new member. And it also has tips to help make the event a success, such as ensuring that you have a new member kit ready for presentation to your new member, and a reminder to personalize the ceremony to make it meaningful for your new members. One way would be to circle back to the new member questionnaire, because that new member would have noted down some of the areas of interest that they have, and connect the interests of the new member to the speech and the presentation. Personalize it. The new member orientation resources include a trainer's guide, a participant's guide. There's a PowerPoint that you could use as well in your presentation. Used in conjunction, this will help your club have a professional presentation to educate the new member on the basics of Lionism, the history of your club, and help them understand that they are part of something big with a lot of opportunity, as well as a lot of impact being done by their extended Lions family around the world. Now, the mentoring program is a great way to get members beyond the orientation and connected to some of the opportunities that Lions offers, both within the club as well as other leadership opportunities. See, the person that sponsored the new member may not necessarily be the best mentor. So you have to be aware of who are good working with new members. There are people that's great in bringing members in, new members in, and there are people that are great in mentoring. I'm lousy in bringing new members in, I'll have to admit, but I work well with existing clients as far as mentoring them. So you find the skills as far as who are good mentors and who are good recruiters. Now, the mentoring program is certainly the great way, as we say, to get members beyond the orientation and connected to the opportunities that Lions offer them. And finally, when a new member joins, the new member and their sponsor both receive emails. For the new member, these emails will help educate, inspire, and encourage engagement over the first 3 years of their tenure with the club. The sponsor will receive a corresponding email, so he or she is aware of what the new member is reading. But more importantly, will receive guidance and be ready to continue to offer face-to-face personal support to the new member as they explore all that Lions have to offer in the first few years of membership. Next slide, please. Now, one of the most important steps for new member retention outside the orientation is ensuring all members are engaged and inspired by the work that their club is doing. The Membership Satisfaction Guide provides a step-by-step process to improving satisfaction in your club. In step 1, it is important that we take a customized approach to membership satisfaction. All clubs are different, so what may work well for one club may not work for another. It is important that you take this step in the process to learn what your members want so you can address those needs. Tips in this guide will also include a suggestion to consider the Club Quality Initiative, which will help you learn more about your members. In step 2, research has shown that a key factor in why people leave is often related to conflict. The feeling of not making a difference, of not having a sense of belonging. This guide offers tips and strategies to help with this, but also reminds users that a personalized approach is important because each member may have a different idea of what making a difference, for example, looks like. So what may making a difference mean to you could be entirely different to the next member. And in step 3, when you are ready, it's time to implement your plan. First, the club leaders will need to be on the same page, and then communication is key. This will help make sure that members understand why you are making some changes, which can help mitigate resistance. Of course, there may be some, and the guide will provide some tips on that as well. Of course, this is also an ongoing process. It's not something that you can just do and then walk away from it. Consider how you want to review your plan and make adjustments on a regular basis as you try new things. And finally, while there are other tools that may help you understand your members, this guide does have a couple of tools that will help with the basics. Use the questionnaires to learn from your new members to make sure they're getting what they hoped out of your club. Reach out to your former members as well. You may be able to learn from mistakes, or there may be an opportunity to get them involved again, especially if they realize that the club may be making some changes. And also use the action plan as a template to help stay organized throughout the process. Next slide, please. Now let's take a look at some resources which are available from LCI to guide us through the process of assessing the needs of a club in the various areas of improving the health of the club. What is the Club Quality Initiative? It is a strategic planning tool that involves the whole club in an exciting process to find new ways to improve the club in the areas of membership, service, leadership, operation, and marketing. Why is this important? This initiative is important. This planning tool is important because it provides an opportunity for clubs to assess areas of needs. And when's the best time to use it? It can be used all year round. And who can use it? This should be led by the club first vice president each year. We are developing and training our vice president to take to progress within the club. So the first vice president, this is a good thing for the vice president to do. And where can you find more information? You can find more information and learn more by visiting the Club Quality Initiative website or contact LCI at, again, the email addresses are always very easy to remember. It's just Club Quality Initiative at lionsclubs.org. Next slide, please. The next tool that we have that could be used is called the Club Health Assessment. This report is one of the most valuable tools available to assist the district governor in understanding the health of clubs, indicating key club operational factors. The report is generated monthly and is emailed to the district governor. And we encourage the district governor to study the report and share some of the information with the appropriate people within your cabinet, within the zones, and within the clubs. It is a snapshot of information generated each month at the end of the month. It contains a lot of good information, including the club status. It lists all the clubs and it tells you what the club status is, whether the club is active, in status quo, or canceled as of month end. And it also gives you good information on membership activity and the year-to-date net membership growth. It reports figures on monthly membership history, shows how many months since the club last reported membership. And it also indicates the club president rotation. It shows if club presidents are serving several years in a row. And that should be good information for the club to look at and ask yourself the question, why are we having a club president for life? And try and now then look into the potential of developing future Lions leaders. And we have an hour session. The fourth session is going to deal with resources in developing future leaders. So I encourage you to attend that session as well. And service activities reporting is certainly important information to have. It's a very important document for club presidents, and it's sent to the club presidents. And we encourage club presidents to use this document because it contains all sorts of information that you could use. Next slide, please. Now, the club health assessment report that we viewed on the previous slide provides you with information about key indicating factors of club health that can assist you to prioritize how you support the clubs in your district throughout the year. Some clubs will need more of your team's attention and support than others. Now, with the removal of the cap on the number of times a club may be visited, there is a better opportunity for your team to focus on those clubs which may benefit from additional support throughout the year. And for those of you who are attending who may not be district governors or vice district governors, perhaps a zone chairperson or a club officer, if you feel your club or any clubs within your zone require the additional support, don't hesitate to contact the district governor for assistance. And and certainly the kind of clubs that certainly you may want to choose some of the clubs to visit more than once will be clubs less than 2 years old, because they need that support to get some stability and build on. Clubs in status quo or financial suspension. Clubs that have been canceled within the previous 12 months that could be reinstated. There's a chance you could reinstate them. So perhaps there's an opportunity to do that. We must not give up on clubs which are struggling without putting the effort of helping them in rebuilding into viable and active clubs. After all, we spent so much time and effort in, first of all, forming the club, and the club has been providing service in the community, have been providing fellowship to a group of members. So we shouldn't just walk away from it. We should make a concerted effort to help them out. Now, Third Vice President Patty Hill has a great presentation on ways for clubs to engage and socialize virtually. We will include it in the email listing the various resources from this session, so you have an opportunity to check it out, and attend the presentation. It's a great presentation. I looked at it, and it's got wonderful ideas for us. Now, Mark's going to talk about virtual meetings, which have been an effective way to stay connected during this period of restrictions, because there are clubs that have been very successful in carrying on, but they have been doing it virtually. So Mark, over to you then.
Thank you. Next slide, Ann. So virtual meetings. How many have been to a virtual meeting besides this one this week? Virtual meetings are, let me just start with this. They are a great tool, and I hope that we've learned a tremendous amount of, as Lions, how to use these tools. And that once we're through COVID situation, that we will actually be able to we'll be able to continue to use these tools that we've gained. The foundation for this, all this information about online, is be able to run an effective meeting. So what we've learned in all of our trainings about how to run effective meetings is really not much different than when it comes to holding an online meeting. And I think if we keep that in mind, it will help us be more successful at keeping members engaged during virtual meetings. The first one is to prepare in advance. Have an agenda, have people lined up, have members that know how to get on, and those that struggle with virtual meetings, create opportunities for them to learn how to gain access using virtual tools. List the important items that you're going to talk about in your meeting announcements, and make sure that people know this is what we're going to do, and stick to that agenda. Again, not any different than when we had face-to-face meetings. The next thing is encourage interaction. A lot of clubs that I've been to virtually, they like to have a little bit of a check-in, and so many of us miss that interaction. And so if you can weave that into your meeting structure, then I think people will find even more value with that. Then follow up with the meeting participants about what extra materials you'll be giving. For example, I posted in the chat room that we will be sending out, like last week, more information as well as the PowerPoint slides. And we hope, knock on wood, that we'll get that video link for you. And so those that want to go back and look at something, or for those that weren't able to attend, you'll be able to share that. Next slide. So virtual platforms, these are for the most popular: Zoom, Microsoft Teams, GoToMeeting, and Skype. There's also one that we've used in our area, the free conference call. And that is something that one club in particular has been very successful in using. But Zoom is probably the most prevalent in my experience. And probably after that is GoToMeeting. Another one is Google. Google Meet is something that is integrated into the Google suite of applications. So there's lots of choices. There are free and paid versions. We'll talk more about Zoom in a minute here. Ann, can you switch to the next slide? Before we do that, we want to make sure that we have safety. We're going to focus on Zoom, but a lot of these ideas can be transferred to other platforms as well. Be careful who you share your link to. For example, in this meeting, it was you had to register, you had to be able to, we know who's coming on, and that, as you see in the last item there, Zoom waiting room. Make sure that you have the waiting rooms active, and that you recognize when people are coming in. And if they don't have their name, or you don't recognize a number or something, be prepared and know how to isolate that participant. But only allow pre-approved users to join a meeting. Next slide. So the first thing is, and again, how to join a Zoom meeting. I'm not going to go into detail because all of you joined a Zoom meeting tonight, but the look at what we were able to do with this. We had Polly had sent out the link the day before. What we've learned over time is if you do it too far in advance, it gets lost in the wash of emails. So be very specific about saying, I'm going to email it the day before. You might send out an agenda ahead of time, but then the link is there. So be very careful when you do that. But you you email the invite, and the way to do that is simply just click on that link that comes in. That's probably the easiest way to join Zoom. The next one is to actually go into zoom.us. If you just type in that web address, and then you click on join a meeting, you enter the ID, the meeting ID, and click join, you can get in that way. There's a number of clubs that are wrestling with people don't want to or don't know how, don't have a computer, don't want to get involved in that. Well, they use a phone. Have them show them how to log on, use a phone, and that's another way. But once they join meetings, there are lots of tools, and as you probably know, all these experienced Zoomers here, they keep changing some things. But for most platforms, there's a lot of similarities, and help people get used to that. Some of the tools that have it available, such as chat box, how to mute or unmute themselves, and so on. Next slide. Hosting a meeting. Now, again, some of this may be common knowledge for you. Some on the call on the meeting may not. And there's a free Zoom account, and a free Zoom account, you're limited to 40 minutes when you have more than one other participant. You can have up to 100, but if you have more than one other person, then they limit it to 40 minutes. And then if you have, there's security features with the free, but Zoom is also, there's a paid pro version. I think it's about $149 or something like that. And if you pay for a year in advance, at least the way I did it, you can actually get a discount. I think it's down to $129. But for that one, you can have unlimited length of meetings, but it's up to 100 participants. And that's what we're using tonight, is this version. Next slide. So we're going to be sending out these resources, so you don't have to write them all down. It'll be pretty much just like this, the Zoom best practices resources. If you're not familiar with YouTube or Google, try them out. If you just type in your question, how do you run a Zoom meeting? How do you run a video? How do you have a PowerPoint? In fact, we have two people on here, PID Ann and PDG Sharon, and I, back in February, we said, how do we run Zoom meetings? And we talked about leadership training. And the next thing we know, we're learning, and we reached out to a person that Ann knew in Kansas, and we had Zoom meetings. And a quick funny story, and we had a meeting, and we were saying, well, what are these meeting room things, the chat rooms? And so I said, well, let's put us in breakout rooms. That's what they're called, breakout rooms, not chat rooms, but breakout rooms. And I put them in the rooms, and then we came back, and somehow I clicked the wrong button and I canceled the whole meeting. So there's a lesson there that you try things. You're not going to hurt anything. Have fun. I had a meeting this week with our club president, and she was unfamiliar with Zoom, and so we just set up a Zoom meeting. And so that is a great way to experience how to do Zoom. Next slide. So what we're going to do is, I'll turn this back right there. I'm going to turn this back over to Polly, and we have some Lions that are on the call, that are on the meeting, that are going to help us. And Polly, I'll turn it back over to you, and I'm going to unmute Gay.
Yeah, while you're doing that, and we have seen, certainly, especially during this difficult time of the COVID-19 pandemic. Some examples of not only continuing service and fellowship, but creative and exciting ways that Lions have come up with and implemented to serve not only the community, but to keep their fellow Lions members engaged in service and fellowship. So, as Mark said, we have invited two Lions to share an example or an idea with us locally of how it has been successful for them. So, to start us off, then, Lion President Gay from Fort Vancouver Lions Club in G2, would you share with us for about 5 minutes or so an idea or that you would like to that you have experienced?
Thank you for asking me to do this tonight. Um, Last year, our membership, we dropped a lot of members, and the year before, we did not have any growth at all. So before coming into the president office, that's one thing I wanted to really concentrate on. And Mark had mentioned this club rejuvenation program. So we talked to Stephanie Odell, and she attended one of our Zoom meetings prior to our first board meeting. And we have a very outgoing membership chair, and our board voted for us to go ahead and join the pilot program. And it's a great program, and it's laid out in just perfect detail. And the thing I want to emphasize is sometimes there's a fine line on not doing enough or doing too much. And you'll see that with your members. But a survey went out to our members. We have 67 members, and 42% of the members returned the survey, which we thought was pretty darn good. And the questions were, do you like the frequency of our club meeting? Do you like where we meet? Only now we're doing Zoom. So do you like our service projects? What's your favorite? What's your least? Probably the typical questions that you guys have filled out before. So when we got those back, then past Governor Mark, who is an associate member of our club, said he would love to be our coach. And I thought that was just amazing, because the one thing I love about this, you people are here to help us. And there's 5 I's in this process. So the first week, he took us to the first 3. And so it might seem kind of slow, but it wasn't. So of course you want to, where did my notes go? Identify the interest and invite people. And the one thing that really struck with me was the interest, because Mark kept emphasizing, what can we do for you? How can we help you? And I will never forget the way he presented that, because that is so true. If we want members to come in, we need to help them, and they will in turn, of course, help us. And then the second week, he had given us some homework to do. And it was the networking. Think about who your members could be: people at church, your coworkers, neighbors, your spouse, your family members. And then what are people's specialized areas? Is somebody specialized in working with, like our club, the blind school? Or we have one person that she loves to help us with the share house, feeding the homeless. But you find people that have specialties, and if you can get them to help us, it's a plus for everybody. And trying to fill that sheet out was not as easy as it seems, because to me, I want members that we are not going to lose. We need to invite them in, and then we need to keep them busy. So then the last 2 of the 5 I's was to involve them. And I believe that if you don't involve them, you will lose them. And induct them, like they said, in a ceremony that is going to be meaningful, not only for them, but for their sponsor and for the members. Because if you can sit there and kind of redo your membership vows, it means more to you. It does to me each time. Now, we're supposed to write up a membership plan. We just started this the first of our year, like August. we start talking about it. The membership plan we are in the process of developing, so we're not at that point yet. But I'm excited, and I think, you know, when you're enthusiastic and you have an enthusiastic membership chair, it's contagious. And I know we're going to see good things come of this. So I will take any questions anybody has, if there are any.
If we could put them in the chat box, that'd be great.
Oh,
Well, thank you very much, Lion Gay, for sharing the process with us and what you've been able to do. I'm sure we can take a lot of the suggestions to heart. The next Lion that we have asked to share some experience with us is Lion President Eric Miura of the Lynn Valley Lions Club in A2, and he is also the MD19 GMT coordinator. Eric?
Hi, thank you for this event. It's been really nice to get to know everyone over the last few weeks. My club has been an interesting club where we have learned to be open to new ideas. When I joined the club, I must have been the youngest by about 30 or 40 years. And the bulk of our membership was in their 50s and 70s. And as newer members joined, there was a lot of turmoil and we were not so open to change. And it was a difficult period. And I'll share that a lot of those members decided, as our club decided to be open more, move on to other clubs. And that wasn't a loss to Lions. It actually supported a lot of the other clubs in our adjacent areas. And it was just a rebirth of our organization. And with that change, those that stayed and those that had joined, we decided to have, I would say, a vision statement for the club. And I think that's really important for a club to actually communicate and have a common goal, a vision statement, and also like a mission statement. So in our case, from being a very singular type of person, our club decided that our vision was to be the most diverse club possible. We didn't even have women in our club. We now have women in our club. We've got gay people in our club, things that would never have happened when I first joined. As of recent too, we had a lot of young kids that wanted to join, but they didn't necessarily want to become a Leo. We tried to incorporate that. They wanted to be full-fledged Lions members. So our club decided to actually allow that. We thought we'd get 1 or 2. We're up to about 8 young folks, the youngest being 15, the average being about 20 to 25. And the amount of change that brought in was phenomenal. But I think the reason it's been so successful is that the club, before we introduced these people, had this vision of becoming the most diverse possible club. And it was a collective decision to go in that direction. And so we embraced it. And it was wonderful to see this new energy come in. So that being open to new ideas is a very important thing. The other one is to also be strategic planning and how we partner with other organizations in our community. So we decided to be very strategic in the types of people that we would pursue and the types of programs that we would fund. I mean, we fund lots of programs, but we decided, rather than sharing to a whole bunch of groups, to be strategic in how we do it. There had to be something that came back to the club. And of highest value to us, we recognized was membership. So, you know, we helped the local sports associations. We wouldn't do individuals. It was decided to deal with the leadership of these associations. Because at the end of the day, our strategy was, as children and parents kind of matured, the parents of those who coordinate, whether it be a soccer association or the local PACs, Paulie's quite aware, our club made a strategic 10-year commitment to help local schools and support them and empower them to raise more money. And the reason for that was to do good and help out these kids. But there was an underlying private club strategy plan, was that we understood if you're going to go out to a community and you want some doers in your club, hit a target-rich environment. PAC parents are doers. Out of an entire school populace, they're the ones that volunteer their time and make it happen. We knew that we wouldn't get their engagement for a good 10 years, but we could prove to them over that period that we as a Lions organization are there not to take anything. We're only there to serve and give. And over the last 5 years, so we've had that program for about 15, over the last 5 years, the bulk of our directorship and new members are those PAC presidents, are those PAC directors, are those people with the skill sets to organize and really pull people together. They're people that are used to diversity, they're used to conflict, they're used to the kind of chaos of community and the bickering, but they're people who are capable of working through together as a team. So it's that target-rich environment of people. That also gave us the opportunity to reach out to the grandparents who appreciate our local club because we help their grandchildren. And then we also reach out to the children and we cherry pick the ones who help us out at those events. We get them to come out to our fair and volunteer, and it gives them the skill set. So it's a way where we reached out in our community, but we were very strategic in what we were also wanting from that. And it took patience of about 10 years. But what we're currently seeing in those kids that are between 15 and 25, they're the kids that want to volunteer with the Lions Club even as a young one. Now they're a teenager and they want to now be part of that group that always used to help them. And so what we're seeing in our club right now is an incredible surge of high caliber membership that are looking towards leadership, looking towards contributing. And so that's been a strategic decision. But I think the biggest component of that is talk to your club. Make sure it's a conscious decision and everyone's proud of that. There was a lot of conflict with the amount of time that we spent in this plan and we weren't seeing anything, but we were pretty clear as a group that we wouldn't see the fruits of this strategy for about 10 years. And that's kind of the exciting period that we're in right now. The next phase of what we're doing right now is something that I've seen in Lions where rather than presidents putting themselves forward in the community and your higher executive, we have a club policy where we ensure that the newest members are part of our club promotion. That's another thing I talk about. The Lions in our area, we're kind of a mystery, and I always felt that was poor. We are a very proactive club in advertising what we do, the programs we support, the people who are in our club, the projects that we do. Do not be a mystery in the community. Flaunt it, as some of our sponsors would say, we didn't even know that you did this. We would have supported you years ago. And don't be scared to ask big, dream big, ask big. We used to run events that were in the 10,000 category. Most of our events are now in the 100,000, 150,000 category. And the only reason we can do that is our profile in our advertising, in our partnership, allow us to have a profile where we can command those kinds of sponsorships to put on events for the community with the sponsors knowing that all the proceeds benefit the community and not ourselves as Lions. And with that too, you get that presence in the community where people want to be a part of something that big and that exciting. So that's where we get into that other vision and motto in our club is, together we can make anything happen. And so this is where we've seen during the COVID period, for most people, it may be a challenge, a difficulty. For us, it's an opportunity. And we've actually been able to host 2 very large events with the full blessing of our local governments because we've been creative in how to adapt, make sure that the community feels safe, our membership feels safe. And because of that, you get other folks who want to do and who are trapped in their homes right now going, I want to be a part of an organization that can actually figure it out and do it properly and do it well. So there's opportunity during these periods too. So really partnerships with other organizations is strategically key. Partnerships with businesses with clear defined guidelines. You can't be selective. Everyone plays in the same rule set. And those really do open the opportunity to bigger events, less risk for your club. And at the end of the day, for your new members, a sense of pride. It's really important for new members to be busy, proud that they're part of an organization. And what we also have done that recently, and for the last 5 years, the newest members are the folks that we put in our ads. The newest members are those who present the checks. I as a president really don't need to be out there unless it's a strategically necessary moment. When we put it's amazing how we've actually got membership just by putting our newest member out there, handing over a $30,000 check or a $10,000 check. Their friends then go, we didn't know you were a Lion. He's only been a Lion for 2 days, but they're, wow, right? So it is really important to put your newest members forward in an organization in many folds. it's beneficial. The new member feels, wow, I'm already getting to do something like this and I'm just brand new. You get their friends going, I can't believe you joined a group like that. Their first comment is, it's great. It's really fun to hand out money and do good and be noticed. So put people forward, be open to new ideas, and also keep them busy. We are a very active group, but everyone wants to be active. Everyone wants to contribute. And that diversity of people creates an incredible diversity of skill sets. And some people want to do something outside of their skill sets, but quite usually they return to their own skill sets as an engineer or as a designer. And when you have that team and that network, you really can accomplish everything. So it really comes down to diversity, communication with your team, and be open to new ideas. And even during COVID, there is a tremendous amount of opportunity out there.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
Wow. If I'm not a lion, I want to sign up, Eric. So certainly the excitement that is created out in the community attracts the others that may not be lions to ask questions about the group that's been involved in. And so that's how you've been able to grow to the extent that you have. So thank you both again, Lions Gay and Eric, for sharing your successes with us and ideas that we can all take to heart and bring back to our respective clubs. We shall include in our follow-up email on this week's session the link to an LCI presentation called Virtual Service Activities, which was put together by ID Alan Hunt, who serves on the service committee, and Mary Campbell, who is the LCI program development specialist, on ways that Lions can serve virtually during the COVID-19 pandemic. Great information in it. So when you get that link, please make the time to go in and take a look at what we've got there. So next, the next slide, and Lions, Anne and Sharon, you've been monitoring the chat room for us for comments and questions. Let's share what you come across on some of the things that have been posted in that room.
Well, let's see. When you guys were talking about virtual clubs and virtual charters, Alan Hunt, director, Alan said that they have done 3 so far in Canada. Several people talked about the value of the club health assessment tool. And Mark talked, he's got something posted here, and I know you guys are going to get more about the 5 Eyes. So more information about the 5 Eyes, and then lots of thank yous to Eric, to Gay, to Polly, to Mark. So well done. Well done.
Thank you, Anne. Director Allen, we haven't been ignoring you. We acknowledge that you are in a room with us. Do you have any comments you'd like to share with us?
He had to drop off.
Oh, he has to drop off. Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to give him a little bit of time to share some thoughts with us, but we'll catch him another time because he has indicated his interest in sitting in on the session. So we'll give him extra time next week. How about that? All right. And Mark, do you have any parting words?
No, just thank you so much. And I really appreciate the opportunity because, I've been aware as a Lion of many of these tools, but in preparation for this event, I got a chance to go and look at some that I haven't seen in a while and some that I've seen recently, but it was good to refresh my memory. And I encourage you, when Polly sends those links, take some time, check them out. And again, they're ideas. You're the leaders. You set the tone, you set the enthusiasm, and you have these resources. Talk to those clubs, and not all of them will be ready for it, but build a coalition of the willing, and it'll start to snowball. Like Eric said, you start with what you have and you show your enthusiasm, and great things will happen when you dream big. Thanks, Polly.
Yeah, next week, Wednesday, October the 14th, 2020 at 7 p.m. will be the 3rd session in our series of 4. We're going to look at retention with service and fellowship. So thank you for taking the time to join us tonight. Please feel free to email us any comments or feedback you may have. So on that note then, thank you and good night to all. See you next week.
Everybody.
Night.
Good job. Good job, teachers.
Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Sharon, for your
Yes.
help. You've been very helpful.
You're very welcome. Polly, I'll get this form updated and I'll get it sent up to you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, we have a good attendance tonight. We had 44 people that had
Yes.
logged in and participated with us. So that's good to see. And a lot of people have returned from last week. And I see a few new names as well. And I think a few of those people had missed the link and they were in it. But, you know, we're going to be sending out the recording as well. So they'll have a chance to review the materials and go into more details, because with an hour long, it's not possible to go into too much detail at all. So thank you all again.
Thank
You're very
you.
welcome.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you. Good night.
Well,
Have a good night,
Carrie.
everybody. See ya.
Good night,
Good night.
Idaho.
Yeah.
Good night, Idaho.
I feel like I need to say goodnight, John Boy.
Okay. Good night. Since I'm the host.
All right, you can close us
Adios.
down.